Marshall and Will.
Good morning, everybody out there. Welcome to the Marshall in the Middle show here. We are on the corner of Ardennes and Long Street here at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, virtually. We would like to start off. I hope everybody had a great Easter weekend. I saw a picture yesterday on Facebook there, old Will and Penny out there in front of church, looking sharp too, man. Will's wearing a suit. Everybody looked great, man. So I hope everybody, all our viewers out there, had a great Easter weekend. And before we go into anything further, I'd like to, since we talk about Penny here, I'm going to go ahead and mention Penny A. Cox, Esquire. Anybody out there needs a defense attorney, she's the one to go to. I'm telling you right now, old Penny, let me tell you something about Penny, what she could do for you as a lawyer. Let me tell you something. She's going to treat you like a static line snap hook, okay? She's going to hook you up. I'm going to tell you that right now. She's going to hook you up. So without any further ado, let's talk a little bit about what happened Saturday with that incredible rescue there in Iran. I couldn't believe it. I once again, it was in the middle of the night, and I came out of the bathroom, and I was looking at it on the news because we always keep a TV in the bedroom there, and I keep the news going like for background while I'm sleeping. And I tell you what, man, my wife, I was like, "Hey, wake up, Jess." She goes, "What now?" I said, "They got him. They rescued him." Because I was scared like everybody else out there in the country. I was really petrified for this guy, because if everybody out there knows that the Iranians would have gotten a hold of him, what they would have done to him publicly if he were still alive. We didn't know any of that stuff. And now later on, as of this morning, we got to see the more of the details of the operation. It's just unbelievable. The military power that our military has. I mean, just the precise military dominance that we actually have. I couldn't believe it. I said they pulled this off. 2 pilots in approximately 72 hours apart ish, rescued behind enemy lines. Unbelievable. And they were looking for this guy. Anybody out there really hasn't been following the story? The Iranians had a $60,000 price on this guy's head. Anybody that could bring him into the Iranian forces police. And then we all know throughout history what they would have done from him, what they would have did with him from there. They would have paraded him through the streets, I've been petrified about it, but I'm glad they have him. It's good to go. And as of right now, it looks pretty positive that, according to the president, we're going to be coming out with a deal, hopefully within the next 24 hours, because they only got a deadline till tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. I saw it this morning. Trump said it ain't going to look pretty if they don't come up with a deal and open up that strait. So looking forward to seeing the end of this conflict. And I think it was an excellent operation. But good morning, Will. Go ahead and talk to us a little bit, man. Bring us more into this.
Man, so happy Easter to everybody. I'm really appreciative of what our leaders are at least talking about, right? They're being vocal about what's happening, and finally, at least I have at least some semblance of trust that what they're saying is going to happen is happening. I mean, when's the last time you heard a president say, look, on Tuesday, if you don't do this, we're just going to bomb you, okay? And you know what? I think that there's pretty credible evidence that could happen, that he would carry something like that out, and that brings a lot of weight. Not that I want to go around bombing people, not that I think our country should make a habit of those types of things, but at least if we're here, having clear, concise instructions and clear, concise directions from the leader who will bomb the crap out of you is a valuable thing. And I'm just happy to be, remember, from my perspective, I like to look at this from a spiritual place of, am I at peace, and why am I not at peace? And that's the world that I need to save. That's what I need to really be worried about, is me and those around me and my family, as much as I've failed them in the past and continue to throughout my life in different aspects. But the thing that I have to do is to keep myself sane and safe and clear thinking so that I can be the proper leader or whatever as this goes along. So spiritually, and I feel as if this world is in the right trajectory finally. I feel as if, and I don't, and again, I'm not talking about the bombing part. I'm talking about just what's true and what's right and what's real
Right.
is coming back into a reality. And I don't know. I just think there's a lot of value in that. I'm very, happy. I'm very spiritually blessed, I feel. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. And yesterday was a great day too. I mean, Easter. I don't know if did you guys have a nice dinner afterwards, after church and all that stuff? And did you guys go out, or what did you do, Will?
Yeah, so we went to our favorite place that makes fried ice cream, right, for dessert. That's what we love, and so we went there, and we led the parade. Me and Penny in our car, and Mom and Dad were following, and we pulled up, and the parking lot was deserted. And I walked up to the door and I looked in, and the place was empty. It was closed. Our favorite place in our little hometown right here, it's closed, and I guess they didn't tell nobody, or we didn't get the memo or whatever. So we had to go to the alternate place that doesn't have the good fried ice cream across the street. And we ate our little fajitas and stuff over there. And we talked and chatted, and Mom had on her best little outfit that she just bought from her trip, and so she looked great. Easter's a time of renewal, a time of dressing up pretty and realizing that spring can come again, that the lilies in the field are growing for our own beauty, and it's best to understand and realize that and enjoy the beauty while we can, because later we got to toil, to get all the fruit that comes from our labor. So
absolutely. We had a great time, man. We did something different this year, Will. We had my in-laws came over for dinner and after church, and instead of like cooking a big meal like we usually do every year, they went to Bob Evans. I don't know if you ever heard of Bob Evans. I know you're in Alabama. It's more of a northern thing here in Ohio and Michigan area and stuff. But so we ordered Bob Evans dinner to go, and then they put a big spread out for you, man. You get mashed potatoes, corn, ham, turkey, green beans, rolls. They put a big spread out for you there, and we brought that home and reheated everything up there according to the instructions, and it was delicious. And nobody really had to do anything but go pick it up. And it was part, something different we did this year, but instead of cooking a big old meal and all that stuff. But yeah, like you said, it's either that or we're going to start just going out and eating, whatever's open. But I know Bob Evans is always open. They serve excellent food 24/7. Of course, they're known for their breakfast, but this time, we went ahead and ate their good Easter meal they had there. Perfect.
Awesome. So the 82nd is deployed, right? Or so at least parts of it. They're over there somewhere. Something. What's going on? Yeah, who is the 1st Brigade, right?
I don't know, Will. I really don't know. I wish they would start telling us more about the 5 W's on that situation. But I know, hey, at the same time, that they have to keep it as secret as possible, because if this deal doesn't get made, I think we're going to wake up Wednesday morning and we don't know what's going to happen. They could literally land on that island, Karg Island there, and conduct an airfield seizure. We don't know. Now, here's something else I got to tell you, and we'll go more into this Wednesday when we do more of our political stuff. But I don't think the commander-in-chief, and I know for a fact he's not happy because he's come right out and said it, but, Italy and Germany, Spain, France, Great Britain even, they wouldn't allow us to use our own air bases or our own military bases to launch any type of operational function during this war. And if you think about it, we have an entire brigade in Vicenza, Italy, airborne brigade, that they weren't even allowed to use that to fly in, because that could have been your contingency to get there quicker, fly them right out of Vicenza, right over the airstrip there, airfield, and conduct their business. But they wouldn't allow us to do it. Don't be surprised. He's going to make an announcement at 1300 today. Don't be surprised if he doesn't come out and say, once this is over, we're going to start pulling out of NATO. And I'll even go a step farther. We might start closing some of our bases in Europe, some of our Western European bases, Italy, Germany, Great Britain, our Air Force bases there in Germany. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to find out. Now, you're talking about our dentistry. I don't know what they're going to do with them boys over there, right? Boys and girls over there right now, and I don't even know where they're at. I think they're staged in Kuwait right now, preparing. And you know what they're going through. They're going through training scenario after training scenario after training scenario. They're burned out. I'll guarantee it. But also at the same time, Will, they're ready to go. We already know that. Take it.
Yeah. They it would be an interesting thing to be in the 82nd and deployed right now, or worrying about it. And so having been through those times, I'm thankful for the men and women that are going through it and their families and everything, because it is beneficial to have a throat punch that America can spit out there and hurt you pretty bad. I mean, the doggone, they start flying a bunch of paratroopers into the country. We get crazy quick. Now, can you imagine this colonel that apparently he climbed in the mountains and kept getting higher and higher till he found him a crevice, and he activated his emergency signaling devices. And apparently the CIA did some kind of a misinformation campaign to send the bad guys somewhere else. And that says a movie. This has got to be a movie, right? Sergeant Krause's story and this story's both of them's got to be a movie. Got to be a great movie, right?
Oh man, yeah. I thought the same thing too, man. This morning I was thinking, this is a movie. I said the same thing to myself. Will, I said, man, this is a movie right here, because there was a lot of transactions that had to take place prior to just for this guy. And then you can cut the scene from the CIA's operation just south. And then, they had to have everything ducks right in a row, right down to hey, Director Radcliffe, do you have all your ducks in a row? Do you have all your men in place? Are you sure? One just misstep, a bit of information could have turned this into a disaster. But it went off smooth, from the reports that I've seen. It just went off smooth. But yeah, and then this guy's wounded, and he has to hobble his way to safety, climb 7,000 feet into the mountainous section of this ridge. And like you said, he had to hide in a crevice for 2 days almost, practically. I think it was almost 48 hours, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was over 30 hours. Wounded. And then he had to operate his beacon. And that's how they zoomed in on him. And then I found out they still didn't give the green light for this mission to go down until they confirmed his voice. So people that knew him, because for all they knew, he was already possibly captured and it was a decoy from Iranians, and for all they know, the individuals planning this, Pete Hegseth and president and chairman of the Joint Chiefs, secretary of the Army, so on and so forth, they literally heard his voice. And the first thing he said, if your listeners didn't know, our viewers don't know what happened, excuse me, because I'm getting excited about talking this. This is, like I said, this is a movie. He said, "God is good," over the radio. That's the first thing out of his mouth. And they said that's him, because they knew he was a very religious man. His coworkers, the other airmen that knew him and served with him for years. They're like, this guy's for real. That's him. And that was it. They started the operation immediately and went in and got him. And then I heard it was the actual people that put hands on him to get him out and fly him out was SEAL Team 6. I saw that yesterday. I'm sure there were some Delta boys there and some 75th and some Green Berets and a bunch of CIA guys. I heard there was over 100 individuals on this mission, one mission to get one man. And I tell you what, it's not a T-shirt. They don't wear a T-shirt that says "No one left behind." They live it on a daily. We all used to live it. Nobody's going to get left behind, and they just proved it. Went off. I won't say it went off without a hitch. I'm sure there was a couple of hiccups. I'm sure there took some fire and stuff like that. But and I know they had to destroy a C-130 aircraft because of the technology on it. They didn't want the Iranians to get a hold of it. It had gotten stuck in the desert because they were using a small little refueling base south of that one of the nuclear sites that we bombed the hell out of last summer. And just south of that, they set up a little refueling station. How dangerous is that? I just saw that. I was like, boy, that takes some guts right there. They better have some security on that site, So there's some more troops that had to be put in there. For all we know, Will, the 82nd could have been involved in this. Who knows? But it's going to come out one of these days, brother.
They called me. They wanted me to come and lead the mission and do all the drone coverage for them. But it was Easter, so I wasn't able to make it out. It didn't fit in with my contract. Pete Hegseth, he called me. If the president would have called me, I probably would have done it. But it was just Pete, so I told him he'd catch me next time.
Oh man, dude, that is funny. I seen your drone shows on Facebook there recently. You got that stuff down to a science. You got a license for that?
Yeah. So I've got a Part 107. I ran a thermal drone business for a few years with my thermal drone, going out and finding deer and other wildlife and pets and things like that. Recently, I sold that drone, and I had a client come to me not long ago and asked me to do some work. And I used that money to buy a new Air 3S. So this is the new Air 3S right here. It's got a dual camera on it. It's really, really nice. It's got all the latest bells and whistles from DJI. It's not their latest, greatest, but it's friggin' good. It is really good. It's got a 1-inch camera. And it's got two cameras. It's got a wide camera, a zoom camera. The wide camera has just amazing clarity, really nice, pretty color and all that stuff. And it's got all the bells and whistles. It'll follow you around. It'll land. You can fly it without it really worrying about it flying away and all that kind of good stuff. It's very, very, very reliable. And, so anyway, I'll be using it to do some jobs and stuff and fly around and have a good time. But I have all the little licenses and stuff. I tell you, for adult hobbies these days, this right here, this is it, dude, right here. So this is a little FPV drone, right? So you put goggles on and you have your controller and you fly it around like a model airplane, right? It's less than 250 grams, so the FAA doesn't monitor it, so you can fly it anywhere you want. And I go fly it around my little town square or anywhere I want, and it's a lot of fun. But it's you got to teach yourself how to not crash it.
Right. That's awesome, man. I saw, like I said, the pictures are beautiful. The camera on that thing is top. You could tell it's top notch. It's top of the line, man.
Oh yeah. I went and took my little one and flew the McDonald's. So we got a new McDonald's in town. I flew through the arches and everything with the little drone. That was fun.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, is this real? Is this AI stuff he's doing now, or what's he doing? And I started looking at it, man. And I'm like, oh man, he's got a drone. He's flying drones.
Yeah, that's this little drone right here, man. I sat in my pickup truck and launched it and flew it. Yeah, it's got a beautiful, amazing camera on it. Really, really nice camera on it. It's got the DJI 04 transmission system. And, it's neat about the U.S. government trying to ban the DJI stuff and all the things. The thing is, DJI is so far ahead of all the American companies. Their stuff is so good that they're trying to give the American companies a chance to catch up. It's not about spying, I don't think, at all, because we got Chinese technology in every cell phone. I mean, it just doesn't add up to me. Yeah, it doesn't add up to me.
Let me tell you something. How many times have you sat there? I think this is a 15. I don't know. I keep losing track. This is a 16, maybe. I don't know. It's got the 3-thing camera on there. But how many times you've been sitting there talking about something? Next thing you know, you start scrolling through Facebook or whatever the case may be on your phone. Next thing you know, you start getting advertisements for what you were just talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. It's happened to me. It happens to me and my wife all the time. For instance, my son's getting married this June up in Michigan. And I said, you know what? I'd like to have a brown pair of dress shoes. I'm going to wear a gray suit with a light blue tie and a little light blue handkerchief, something for summertime, and then I want to wear brown dress shoes with it because that's kind of looks good, man. I don't have a pair of brown dress shoes yet. I mean, I have them now. I'll be damned. I started scrolling through Facebook, man, and I see nothing but advertisements for brown dress shoes, brother.
Mm-hmm.
The sons of bitches are listening to us on this phone, man. I'm telling you straight up, bro. And I ain't trying to be no conspiracy. I'm just saying what's happened on my end, what I've seen. My wife and I both, we sit there, like, watch what you say. Shit's gonna pop up on your phone before you know it, man. But
yeah. So look, Rogan directly talks to both Zuckerberg and Elon Musk about it, and everybody admits, yes. But it's not necessarily Facebook itself, or it's not necessarily, Twitter itself. It's those advertisements in those apps, the different apps. You give like I have a tracker app, like a fitness tracker. Well, it turns out that sucker tracks everywhere I go, everything I do. And it constantly asks me, like every 60 days, it says, hey, do you still want me to track you? Well, that's what's tracking me. That's what, is, and I'm giving it permission to, just because it's just easy for me when I put my headphones in to go off for my run, But I realize that, now if Kim Jong-il was, watching me, or dang, Zelensky or some crazy, I guess that would be an issue. But all the people that are watching me are just the ones that want to sell me brown shoes,
There you go. That makes, yeah, you're right about that. The advertisement apps that are built in phones, man. You're right. It's called AI, man. It's not called artificial intelligence or, technology for nothing. But hey, let's talk a little bit of some Ardennes stories. Let's get back to what you put this show together, man. Let's go back and talk a little Fort Bragg for a second, man.
All right.
My wife and I yesterday, no, not 2 days ago, maybe, I don't know, before Easter, we were cleaning out the big desk there in our office, and I keep all my files in there, old school, all the paper files from years. And I came across, man, right there. There she is.
Oh,
right
look
there.
at that. Look at that.
This is my original jump log. And I just made a copy of it this morning because I was like, watch, I'm going to spill my cup of coffee on the sucker. And that's going to be it. And, so I finally made copies of it this morning. But I found my original jump log, Will. And my last jump, believe it or not, this blew my mind. Hollywood. Administrative non-tactical. Luzon drop zone. C-130. 18 November 2005. And that covered me through January as far as jump pay goes. And I'm thinking, how in the hell did I get a Hollywood jump daytime on Ryan Luzon drop zone, man? But I think my S2 or S3 Air hooked me up. You know what I'm saying? He probably hooked me up so I can, for pay purposes, because we were getting ready, or we had just come back from Hurricane Katrina, deployment for 30 days. Now, my last primary jump master duty, Normandy Drop Zone, C-17, Jump Master, Nighttime Mass Tactical Combat Equipment, 24 August 2005. That was my last hoorah pressure, big pressure, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure TOT jump in Normandy Drop Zone. Now, I thought about it. I was like, what? You know this better than I do, Will. You were like the black hat at the Advanced Airborne School, man. What was the significance of Normandy? I'm trying to remember because I know Holland Drop Zone had that big building we always used to go assault time and time again. And I love Holland Drop Zone. I thought as a jump master, that was the easiest for me to negotiate, in the air and all that stuff. And it was an easy drop zone, kind of like Sicily a little bit. But Normandy, what was the significance of Normandy? Did they have something built out there, or was that probably just a nighttime jump for like a movement, tactical movement, assault or something? Like they probably had an outboard set up for us or something. Because I don't think there's anything structure-wise out there in Normandy, if I'm not mistaken.
So no, not that I know of. Now, when I was jumping on Holland, there wasn't nothing on Holland. Holland, that the building and structure you're talking about is a late build. I definitely know what you're talking about. But Normandy, it's right there between Sicily and Salerno, and there's not much there. It's one of the smaller drop zones.
Okay, so the second document that I came across, I'm going to tell you right now, this one here is the ultimate. I'm just going to read it real quick. Now, in 82nd Airborne Division, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand, yeah, you can do the Ranger thing and Pathfinder and all these hua schools and badges and all this shit. But I'm telling you right now, the main deal, the rite of passage, in my opinion, the king of badges, especially on Ardennes Street and within the airborne community, period. Because it takes years, ladies and gentlemen, years to get this. 82nd Airborne Division parachutist qualification. Be it known that Sergeant First Class Nathan J. Aganaga is awarded the rating of Master Parachutist under the provisions of the Army Regulations 600-8-22, given on this 30th day of June 2005. So for your listeners out there, it took me 3 PCSs to Fort Bragg to finally earn my Master Parachutist badge. And for all the viewers out there, to earn that badge, you have to have you have to be a current qualified jump master, having graduated from the 82nd Airborne Division Advanced Airborne School, the Fort Benning Advanced Airborne School, or if I'm not mistaken, the Special Operations Airborne School or Advanced Airborne School, right there in Fort Bragg as well. But and then you have to complete all your jump master duties, be current on all those, but you have to have 65 jumps. So after I completed my 65th jump, I hand walked this sucker. I took my jump master orders. I took my doggone jump log, and right after, I swear to God, it must have been the day after my 65th jump, and I hightailed it. I even walked too, man. I was like, I'm gonna make this a mission. I walked my ass up to division headquarters up there on the hill, man. And I had the connections, man. I was like, man, I'm an E7. I'm going to skip over the battalion and the brigade S1. I'm going straight to G1. I got a couple young sergeants up there that are going to hook me up, man. I walked my ass right in that G1 shop, man, right there at the headquarters. And I said, gentlemen, let it be known that I got my 65th jump, and I want to get this star off my chest, and I want a reef around it, man. And can you guys hook me up? Brother, I ain't kidding. They told me to have a seat. And that dude, this E5 I had to hook up with, man, he went ahead and typed up my orders for my master parachute badge, and then of course my rating certificate. Bam! There it is, man. And I kept all these, man, throughout the years and stuff. But tell the audience out there how important that badge is on Ardennes Street, man, because that gives you. I mean, it takes you years. Ranger school, okay, that's 2 months out of your life, maybe a little longer if you get recycled. A lot of guys do. It sucks. It's physical. It's a gut check. Got it, man. But it takes years and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to earn this badge right here, man. You just don't get it going to a school and they say, okay, you're now going to get a master parachutist badge. No, it takes years to earn that, man. Go ahead, Will. Talk to us, Black Cat, Jump Master.
Oh yeah, that's it. So being a jump master gives you a massive amount of credibility, not only in the Army even, but in the world. In the world, somebody says, "Yeah, I jumped out of airplanes." They're like, "Okay, cool," woo. But when you look at somebody and you say, "I was such an expert in my field that I was trained, tested, and deemed proficient by my peers, such that my soldiers would come to me for special treatment to look at them to make sure that they were safe to jump out of the airplane." There's nothing more fulfilling than watching a line form while you're JMPIing soldiers, while you're standing there on the flight line at Green Ramp and you're the guy that's turn, bend, squat, and you're giving those seal of approvals, and all of a sudden you realize your line of people that want you to JMPI you is longer than the other people's that are also there. That you're the soldiers, more of the soldiers want you to JMP, because it really is a trust thing, and there's a lot of value in having a jump master badge, whether it's senior rated or master rated. When I went to jump master school, I had 23 jumps, and I graduated jump master school, and I was a jump master, but I didn't have senior wings. I needed, I think it was 30 or 35 jumps. I don't quite remember, honestly, what the regulation was.
I think it was 30. Yeah, you're right. Why am I opening my mouth, man? I don't remember. It's 30 or 35.
Something like that. There were some specific things, but long and short of it is, right after I passed jump master school, I was PCS to Korea. So I went to Korea as a novice rated jumper, but I was a jump master. I had my little certificate, and when I got to Korea, I was a current and qualified jump master. I was just in another unit, and I didn't have nobody to jump master, but I could have, when I first got there. And so I spent a year and a half, outside of Bragg as a jump master, but I couldn't say, like, look at my badge, I'm a jump master, right? It was weird. It was really weird. People, how can you be a jump master and not, and of course I got to tell everybody, hey, but I'm a jump master, because that's what you do, right?
You just reminded me, man. So I'm at Green Ramp and I'm JMPIing the shit out of all these people, man, these paratroopers. And my old platoon sergeant came up to me, Sergeant First Class. Well, he was a first sergeant now. We were in the same battalion. He just moved to a different company in our battalion, first of the 505th. And he was first sergeant Pyramid now. And he was on my ass. He was the platoon sergeant I had when I failed jump master school my first time and had to go back and get it. And I'm sitting there JMPI, and I look over and I'm like, hey, First Sergeant, what's up, man? How you doing, First Sergeant? He goes, well, mother effing well. And that's how he used to look at me. He goes, you a jump master now? I said, roger that, First Sergeant. He goes, he looked at my chest. Will, I ain't bullshit what you just said. He looked at my chest. He goes, oh, that's funny, because I couldn't tell. And he turned around and walked away from me, man. I was like, God dang, man, I got to get these jumps knocked out, because that's all I was waiting on, man. I was just waiting for 30 or 35 jumps, man, to get my senior wings. And then I got levied to go be a drill sergeant. I'm thinking, okay, my time's getting short for me, man. I got to go to drill sergeant school now. So now I have to go down the street to start getting safety duties and shit, man. You know, and I'm like, I got to get one more safety and a nighttime AJ, and I'm golden. Because I think it was just the reverse. I needed to get my jump master duties because I had the jumps by then. And dude, I went down to Corps engineers and shit, man. I was like, I go down there, went to their, said, where's your S3 air at? Where's your air NCO or something? I said, y'all got any jumps coming up, man? I think there was not Army Times, but then they have an 82nd Airborne paper or something. You could trace jumps, you know, because this was before the internet, man. You could track unit jumps and stuff, man.
Yes, paraglide.
There you go. What was it again?
Paraglide.
Thank you. And so I went down to the Corps engineers, man. And those boys down there. I tell you what, that was the best jump or the best safety duty I ever had, because these guys, man, they allowed me to do the safety duty with their unit. And like I said, I was pushing time to get to drill sergeant school, and daylight, Hollywood jump. We went to Green Ramp. These suckers, man, they had barbecue pits set up. Their family readiness support group, FRG group, was out there cooking hot dogs and hamburgers. I'm like, this is a party out here, man. I said, you guys do this every time you all jump? And they're like, hell yeah, man. We ain't stupid like you guys down there in 82nd, man. You guys make it painful for everybody. I just started laughing, you know. I wasn't going to get cocky with them, and they're giving me the opportunity to do a jump master duty with them, man, on the C-1. That was about the easiest thing I ever did in my life, man. Hell, I should have practiced my safety parachute just for the hell of it. I'm going out anyway. Hell with it, man. Probably would have got disqualified and kicked out of division for it, but dude, it was fun, man. It was fun. But anyways, and I got my nighttime AJ. We had a field exercise, and I had to cut in front of everybody, man. And you know, it's the primary jump master's responsibility to give pre-jump sustained airborne training. I'm sorry. And I volunteered as the AJ, the assistant jump master, to do the pre-jump. I wanted to do it all, man. And not to mention, First Sergeant Pierman was on this jump, if I remember correctly, man. So I wanted to show my ass in front of him, man. I was like, hey, watch this. I jumped up on that platform, brother. Hey, man, I was good too. There was no 3x5 cards for my ass, dude. That's like, no, you don't do that. You better have it all up here. And I did too, man. Bam! And the only thing I didn't cut, the only thing I cut out, obviously, you know this, man, wire emergency landing and water emergency landing. You know, of course, I did the tree emergency landing. But, yeah, I did that thing, man, boom, 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 all the way down. And then I remember First Sergeant Pierman looked at me and he goes, get over here. I walked over here. What's up, First Sergeant, man? What'd you think of that up there? He goes, not bad. Not bad for a cherry jump master. And then he walked away from me again. So anyways, man, now this is your show right here. I found this one. This one's going to blow your mind. Now you put this together. I think you told me 2 or 3 years ago, you and I was on Marshall in the Middle a few years ago. We talked about this one right here. This one blew my mind here when our battalion sergeant major came to me, and he's like, because I was teaching our company or our battalion pre-jump master course for our battalion. Sergeant major put me in charge of that. He basically put me in the S2 shop, which means as an 11 Bravo, you don't have a job, man. So this was my primary job, was being a pre-jump master instructor for our battalion. And I made about a week. It was a week long. And I had like 5 criteria. You had to obviously pass rigging of equipment for a tandem load, you know, in the jump master standard there at Advanced Airborne School. Obviously nomenclature. And I had a hard standard. You couldn't miss one. You had to pass all, however many there were, man, all nomenclature. You had to pass it first time go to pass my version of the test. And then I gave them like 20, 25 written exam questions. And then I would take them outside and go through practical work in the aircraft, because, you know, each battalion, we had our own mock door kind of. And I would take them out there, and I would get like 2 jump masters from the battalion to assist me. And their units were pretty good about it. You know, their units were letting them go. Well, it was the units, young NCOs and young lieutenants, that filled up my classroom. And I would teach the class in our battalion conference room or classroom, whatever. And then I forget the final. What was I'm trying to think what my final exam was for them. Pre-jump. They had to pass without a hitch. They had to pass.
Right.
They had to pass the 5 points of performance, and then they had to do, like, I would add one more thing to it, entanglements, and then they would get a go. I wouldn't have them do the whole thing, because I didn't want to put that much pressure on them and all that stuff. And then, stuff does change at Advanced Airborne School. Now, what I did not do, and I got my ass handed to me a couple times for this, Will. They tried to hand me my ass, but I told them, hey, back off. This is my program. I refused to do JMPI because I could get my hands on a parachute. I could get my hands on a reserve easily. Everybody had a ballistic helmet, or at this time we had the ACH.
Yeah, I'll have to make a motion.
So,
Miss, I'll look.
Anyways, I went ahead and I wouldn't do JMPI because you never know when something's going to change. And I didn't want to jack up their heads before we sent them down to Advanced Airborne School. So a lot of company commanders come up to me. They're like, you should be doing at least Hollywood JMPI. Start teaching them the technique. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it because the next thing you know, they're going to go to Advanced Airborne School. Something's going to change like that, a standard, and they're already going to have it embedded in their head. And then it's going to be my fault. I'm not going to do that. The black hats will put them through it. You're a company commander. You already know all that shit. They're going to get extensive training on that. I just want to get their feet in the door so they have a better chance of passing the first week's testing at that very difficult, hardest school I ever been to anyway, to pass that, at least get them through the first week, get them through a little bit of PWAC, and then they can just fully concentrate on JMPI the rest of the time. And if they're a no-go and 90% of them are first-time no-go on it, then at least they'll have an opportunity to be re-entry qualified for the next jump master class. You know what I'm saying, Will? But,
oh yeah, for sure.
But they didn't like that either. They were like, they even tried to go to the battalion sergeant major. Like, he's not even going over JMPI with them. And that's when Sergeant Major Champagne looked at him and he said, that's his program. And right now, because he kept all the stats, brother. They all do that, man. They keep the stats of the numbers of first time go. Our numbers increased. I was very proud of that. Because like I said, I had just finished my platoon sergeant time. So he put me in the S2 shop as the NCOIC until the next 8 list would come down, and hopefully I'd get it and be frocked to be a first sergeant there. But anyways, now this was your bread and butter right here, Will. The 82nd Airborne Division Certificate of Achievement. Sergeant First Class Nathan J. Aganaga on this 8th day of June 2005 has successfully completed Master Jump Master course 2005, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Okay, I never even heard of it. The Sergeant Major pulled me and one other jump master in my battalion, another buddy of mine. He was a former platoon sergeant with me. They put him in the S3 shop because we both finished our platoon sergeant time. So we got to go down there, and I was scared, Will. I didn't know nothing about it. I'm thinking, Master, Jump Master. I was like, what are they going to have us do, man? We got a JMPI 6 jumpers in 10 minutes now? I said, good Lord, this is going to suck, man. And then when we got there, we didn't realize it's just going to be a, 4 or 5 day administrative class that they would get every day over 18th Airborne Corps and Division 82nd Airborne Division level planning on mass tactical airborne operations. And we'll take it from there. You said you actually were one of the original creators of that school.
Yeah, it's neat. What is neat that you talk about 2005 going to a course that I started in 1995. After the operation, just about when we went to Haiti, Dan was the committee chief, Dan Bennett, and I was the deputy committee chief. And what we realized as we were planning that event was that there was a big gap in the knowledge of a jump master in between the operation of an aircraft and the planning of a huge operation. There was a gap in there, we noticed. Okay, we had our air movement operations NCOs that moved the equipment. We had our jump masters that got the people out, But at the battalion level, then those S3 Air NCOs, that group of people, we had to find a way to share knowledge. And so somebody asked Dan how to do it, and he goes, let's just start a Master Jumpmaster program. And Major Tata was one of the guys that helped plan the Haiti thing. He was around about that time. And basically, we took the Haiti unclassed war plans that we had developed, Dan and I and Major Tata. And then I took our regular curriculum and I came up with the Master Jumpmaster program. It was one of my additional duties. I did, while I was Dan's committee chief, I did the ASOP edition 5 of the ASOP. And after I got done with the ASOP, he gave me the Master Jumpmaster program. Also about that time, by the way, is when we started tracking stats. I was the guy that put our stat tracking stuff together so that we could tell if there was a particular battalion or brigade that was falling behind in getting, in training. And so all of those things that you're talking about, Nate, it's really neat that 10 years later, really, it was the stuff that I began to put in. We began to track who, what unit you were from and how you did, just numbers. It was numbers. And so like there would be 18 from 1st Brigade, 22 from 2nd Brigade, whatever from the separates. And I would, how many graduated, how many failed, how many were reentry qualified. And I'm telling you, we have a crap ton of stats that Dan and I just sat down one day and we said, how are we going to break this down? And we said how we'd break it down. And then I began to make the little forms. Back in those days, I was the guy that had the computer skills. I had the IBM PC and I was literate on, putting all that stuff together. So I was using Harvard graphics and PC Word, I think, WordStar or something like that to create all this stuff. And it was the mid 90s and I'm saving it on floppy disks and bringing it back into work. And Dan and I are printing it out on dot matrix printers. And, it's funny. I still have one of the filing cabinets that we used to keep the written test results in. I still have it, it's still got written test on it and PWAC, written on it from our school days. So yeah, great times. Very neat to see the programs that I put together, at least back in the mid 2000s, were still going. I hope they still are in some way.
Absolutely, man. And I'll tell you what, we learned a lot. I told my wife, I think it's downstairs in a box somewhere, man, but I still have a notebook downstairs, Will, where I have my original notes on there from the Advanced Airborne School, and then you flip the page, a couple pages, and I have all my notes on there from Master Jumpmaster course. And this is neither here nor there, but I think one of the most favorite, because it was laid back, man, one of the most favorite parts about the Master Jumpmaster course with my buddy I had there with me. He was from Bravo Company, man, originally, and I was from Alpha Company, but we were squad leaders together back in the day at One Panther. But anyways, him and I would love to go eat because you really didn't have a whole lot of time for lunch, man. But we would go across the street. Remember the FSB Forward Support Battalion's chow hall right there, man, on Long Street? Oh, that was the best chow hall in division. Man, dude, we went in there. You could get a cheeseburger, onion rings, French fries, taco salad if you wanted to. Man, they had it. You can get a steak at lunch. They had it going on in that chow hall, man. That was one of the best ones in division. But that was the best part about going to the Master Jumpmaster course, man. It was the chow hall across the street. And you could get there and eat, take your time, and be seated in the classroom there at Advanced Airborne School 5 minutes early before the classroom started. Now, the Black Hats come out. They calmed us all down, man, because like I said, we were all kind of nervous. I was like, this ain't going to be fun, man. I said, we're going to be JMPI and 6 dudes out here. I'm not bullshitting you, man. They're going to have us JMPI. We're going to be back out in that pit every day until we can get 6 jumpers down in 10 minutes. And they're like, they come right out, man, the Black Hats. they're like started laughing. They're like, "You guys calm down. This ain't like the original Advanced Airborne School. This is actually going to be a break for you gentlemen and ladies." And then they broke it down to us that this is just going to be more or less administrative, a lot of note taking and stuff. And I tell you what, man, I was like, whoo! I was like, man, I thought you guys all were going to have us out in the pit all day, man. And I thought we'd have to go back up in another doggone C-130 or some shit, man, for another day or something, man. And they're like, no, if you guys are sitting in this classroom right now, you were highly recommended to be here. So that means you guys are already qualified as good jump masters in your units. Your units have already identified you as above and beyond jump masters to even be here. So we were like, woo! So then from that way it was downhill, man. And yeah, that was a good time because I was like, master, jump master. I was like, well, dude, let me tell you something, man. You don't get no more airborne than that. That's about as airborne as it gets right there. That's about as paratrooper as you get, brother. I mean,
I can't help it.
Jump master. I'm a master jump master. Somebody would look at you, they'd say, you're full of shit. There's no such thing.
I can't help but giggle. You're make it look like you're gonna make the paratroopers like, okay, for a regular jump, you got a main, you got a reserve. We're gonna jump out at 800 feet. Okay, you're a master jump master, so you only get a reserve. You got to hold it with one hand, pull it with the other, and you're gonna jump from 250 feet.
I was scared, man. I'm like, what in the hell is this going to entail? So, the funny part, because I would drive me and my buddy down there. I'd have my little red pickup, my little red S10 pickup. It was a 1995 little S10 5-speed, man. And I'd drive us down there. And you know what, Will? We left the battalion. We didn't say a freaking word to each other. And we were nervous. I looked at him. He looked at me. We got in the parking lot. I said, we're back. And I said, here we go, man. He looked at me and goes, what do you think this is going to be about, man? So then we sat down in the classroom because they said, go, just report to the classroom and take a seat. You can sit anywhere you want. And we went into the classroom there, man. I'm like, we're back. And I looked around. We were asking other jump masters there, man, from different battalions and shit. We're like, hey, what'd you guys hear about this, man? What do we got to do, man? And they're like, I don't know. I ain't heard really nothing. I said, I know there's a lot of classroom, but other than that, I said, dude, I'm telling you right now, man, they're going to have us in the mock door standing on our heads and shit. I said, something's going, they're going to have us in the 34-foot tower doing something stupid. I said, watch, we're going to have us backflip out of it or some shit, man. Like you said, we didn't know. And then I tell you what, man, it was cool. And you know what, Will? Nobody failed that. They gave you a test and they're like, hey, I think they even came right out and said, I think after it was done, congratulations. We're like, hey, we didn't even get our scores. I thought we'd have to go out to the bulletin board out there and see if we passed the test. And they were like, this is a non-pass or fail course, man. They're like, we just want you guys to get a hands-on training of what it's like, the planning phase for a major airborne operation at the battalion level. Exactly what you just said. Yeah.
Yeah, the idea was to definitely make subject matter experts at a different level, a level that we were not exposed to normally unless you were an S3 Air. And so, what it turned into was an S3 Air training program, honestly. And it turned out great. All right, Nate. Well, thanks. It's been a great time. I've enjoyed it. Wonderful time here from the center of the universe. If the Popo's chasing you, call Penny A. Cox, Esquire, attorney at law, right there. And our donors right here. Thank you to all of our donors. We really appreciate it. This show is supported by you. Thank you very much. And we're out.
Marshall in the middle.